I say a couple to the flex they represent for Wayne Global TV. So I say, you know the code in the Wayne Global TV is what fully blessed on 90 days. So I say, yeah man, to the fullest. Yeah man, make sure them log in to Wayne Global TV. So I say, check it out. So I say, one cup of flex. So I say, Wayne Global. When you watch you know, film a plan up and try to put them on it and we head. But man, I live too long, them want Wayne Global fitted. To him juggle so smooth that them want him life for dread. I through the bank, I like the break, but we ain't all about the bread. We open up in the ears and no listen when we said, cause we lyrics them so smooth like the linen on the bed. Them one with a fall, we live in pan the edge, I must say true, make this them. We in Global TV, we are 90, and 90. Who Jaja bless, say no man can curse. Give it the Range Rover, uno drive years. Boom! We in Global TV, to the fullest one cup of excellence, see me?
Good morning, good morning. It is Saturday morning, and you know good morning, good afternoon to you on the Eastern Time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those on the London timeline. I am not here long. You know I'm not out here on a Saturday. It's my day off, but because I'm not coming back until Monday, I will not spend my entire weekend be robbed by a politician speaking sideways. Because if one thing you should know about me by now, you'll see a lot of glare on my screen because it's very bright and sunny outside today. So I'm going for a long cycle. So I won't be here long, but I have to respond to Dennis Meadows. Because if it's one thing you know about me by now, politicians and public officials and public figures speaking sideways tend to get under my skin. I mean, I know if I mean I look good, but Dennis Meadows says something which everybody looked like them are turning a blind eye to. Me not hear nobody talk about it. Nobody in a media land, social media land, Not even big yard journalists. Because the link came to me from yesterday. But because I don't pay much attention to what goes on over big yard, unless me go out in reception. Me watch it last night after my show, and I was quite irritated by Dennis Meadows' big yard interview. Quite irritated by it. But good morning, a good Saturday afternoon and morning to you all. I'm not going to be long out here. I'm just here to respond to Dennis Meadows and to ask Dennis Meadows a few questions. Sharon Barnett, Bernard rather, sorry. Afternoon, morning. Natalia, morning, afternoon. Sunshine, morning, afternoon. Debbie Jervis, morning, afternoon. Patricia Matthews, morning, afternoon. Millie McBean, good morning, good afternoon. D.I. Easy Jerk World, good morning, good afternoon. Carla Williams, good morning, good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone on the live, to everyone in the chat. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome. Since as Dennis Meadows junk, Kazmat Rhythm Killer, good morning, good afternoon. Andrew Mac, Sophie, good morning, good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome. Like and share the live, please, so people know some day upon Saturday I may respond to Dennis Meadows talking sideways and think that he's clearing himself in public. But in my view, I don't know if you were listening. Dennis Meadows rather created more problem for me, which I need answers from Dennis Meadows. You also should need answers from Dennis Meadows speaking sideways. Sideways speaking get under my skin. But just a little snippet, Ron Williams, of what Mark Golden, the essence of what Mark Golden said. It's just a short snip. And I'm using back the word weak here. I'm inferring Dennis Meadows. That Mark Golden is using back the word weak here on you, that you suggested that he's weak and spineless.
Said his decision should serve as a warning to all who serve in the PNP under his leadership. He says the party is demanding higher standards of accountability, adding that Jamaica will no longer tolerate weak, unprincipled leaders who say one thing but do another. Civil society groups have been reacting to the developments. Human rights group Jamaicans for Justice, while welcoming the news, had questions. Michael Jackson is executive director.
Notwithstanding that the People's National Party has acted, one must raise the question whether or not the PNP was in fact aware of the video prior to it becoming public yesterday. And if
that's where I want to stop that. I think that's a very relevant question, Everett Watson. Was the PNP aware of Dennis Meadows' gaffe and scandal before it became public knowledge and social media? It is important to know that. But the question I want to ask Mr. Meadows, what is it about you, Jamaican Foodie, good morning? What is it about you, Mr. Meadows, and the North Chilani seat? Because we must remember, Mr. Meadows attempted that seat as a JLP candidate in 2016 unsuccessfully.
Work with the Meadows, make the place advance. Give him a chance, give him a chance. No play politics, give the young man a chance. Give him a chance, give him a chance. Meadows are the man where we give it where we want. Give him a chance, give him a chance. No play
in terms of repairs and upkeep, right? They are being victimized because the area is being perceived as a JLP area, right? This road is a critical road, the Davis Road, which envelopes communities such as Davis, Penn, Newtown, and Johnson. And the critical link between Trelawney and St. James, the interior of St. James. Right? And over the last 20 years, it has not seen any such repairs. Right? When these people go to pay their land taxes, when they go to pay their and taxes. They are not asked if they are JP or PNP. Therefore, taxpayers' money must not be expended on a partisan basis. Right? What they're calling for is their right. They want good roads, they want water. Right? That is not a privilege. That is a right in any organized society. And I am joining them today in terms of giving my full support in this effort. And this effort will be continued until we get some.
Give him a chance, give him a chance. Work with the Meadows, make the place advance. Give him a chance, give him a chance. No play politics, give the young man a chance. Give him a chance, give him a chance. Meadows are the man who will give we where we want.
That was Meadows, the green pig. You saw that. What happened to that Meadows on the election campaign? In 2015, to the Meadows, the Easy Jerk World, TheAmericanTV.com. Good morning, good afternoon. What happened to that JLP green pig, Dennis Meadows, to this Dennis Meadows on this recent political campaign?
Speak to the youth man them by the corner, you know. Especially one who call themselves Chopper. Let me tell you straight up. And he can speak openly. I have no problem with a man if he want chop. Because them chop us during slavery. So nothing wrong if we chop them down. And I speak to the youth man them by the corner, you know. Especially one who call themselves Chopper. Let me tell you straight up. And he can speak openly. I have no problem with a man if he want chop. Because them chop us during slavery. So nothing wrong if we chop them down. My only problem with the chopping is when you bingo and you score. Use the money wisely. Set up yourself. Open a business. Make sure mommy look good. Make sure your baby mother look good. But don't take the money and use energy and wash car. And use US dollar light cigarette. Full business now. There's a reason why money is called liquidity. It's liquid. And if you don't tie it on your hand, it leaks out your hand.
Take careful note who Dennis Meadows spoke about in this video when he spoke about chopping them a chop with from the time of slavery. Who was Dennis Meadows speaking about then? But we're going to break from that Dennis Meadows to Dennis Meadows 2022. Colin Stewart, good morning. 2022, an Integrity Commission report came out referring Dennis Meadows for determination for corruption prosecution in a public office after he issued firearm license to his brother-in-law. This was a statement Dennis Meadows made after he stepped down, after he stood down from the FLA board. Sorry.
I note with grave concern the incendiary and defamatory assertions coming out of the FLA press conference this morning, particularly those comments attributed to its CEO, Mr. Shane Darling. I have forwarded recordings of the conference to my attorneys, Charles Ganga Singh et al., and have been advised to be reserved in my initial comments for obvious reasons. Firstly, please note that I and my former board colleagues were appointed to the FLA board in March of 2016 and not 2014 as stated by Mr. Darling. Secondly, I have been forthright and open in my public comments on issues affecting the FLA, and I am not a part of any whistleblowing effort. I'm a straight shooter, and I speak my mind openly and forthrightly. I do so without fear nor favor. Mr. Darling's defamatory pronouncements this morning not only seek to impugn my reputation and character, but also that of my former board colleagues, and is the action, in my view, of an obvious, desperate man who sees the walls closing in on him. If you recall, in 2017, when the FLA matters became of public interest, I voluntarily recused myself from the board to facilitate any unhindered investigation. In my public recusal, I invited the MOCA to investigate all allegations. I assisted MOCA subsequently, even without the services of legal counsel, because I had nothing to fear. I use this medium to again call on MOCA, the Integrity Commission, and the Auditor General to immediately conduct a probe in damning allegations of impropriety abound in the public space. As recently as last week, an acquaintance of mine paid $1,350,000 to an emissary of one of FLA directors and obtained a firearm license in a record time of 2 months. Further, those who are denied their application for firearm license are contacted by said emissary and invited to lodge US $6,000 to a Caymanian and US accounts. One such account belongs to a senior head, a family of the senior head of FLA. I will have more to say on this score. In the meantime, I condemn any effort on the part of Mr. Darling to seek to impugn my character and those of my former board colleagues. You may want to question our decisions, but our integrity and our character remains intact. I hope Mr. Darling can survive any investigation.
Right. So this was when he stood down in 2022 after that debacle at the FLA over who issues over 200 firearm licenses to questionable characters. That led him to step down. That also, by extension, led him to step away and remove his membership from the Jamaica Labour Party. He then became a registered member of the People's National Party with his eye on the North Chilani seat, because Dennis Meadows knows that the North Chilani seat is quite a PMP strong area. Whatever it is with Dennis Meadows and that seat, time will tell. But this, I'm coming to my tizzy that got me into a tizzy. I want us all to listen together Mr. Meadows' explanation of his recent blunder.
This is action for principle and integrity.
Principle, integrity. So the statement that went viral, the one that cost you caretakership of North Trelawney, what was going on in your mind when you made that statement, sir?
Good point. It was, quite frankly, a desperate attempt to rescue a campaign that was corruptly awashed with cash in terms of monetary inducement.
Who is Dennis Meadows talking about here? whose campaign, Amazing Grace, good morning, why nobody's talking about that? Whose campaign, Monica Wills, was awash with that money that Mr. Meadows is alleging? But I'm going to play the full thing. I'm not going to hear. Then I'm going to play it back on top of the part that will irritate me.
Please.
So this is action for principle and integrity.
Principle, integrity. So the statement that went viral, the one that cost you caretakership of North Trelawney, what was going on in your mind when you made that statement, sir?
Good point. It was quite frankly a desperate attempt to rescue a campaign that was corruptly awashed with cash in terms of monetary inducement, buying votes. And in addition to that, the essence of the whole speech, what you saw in the viral, is really a snippet of what the entire speech is about. The context of the speech was, if politicians chopping you, you must chop them back. That was the essence of it. And I think I went too far in terms of making that point. And consequently, I have to take full responsibility. The issue was about, I started out with a $400,000 check that came to me from the Trelawney Parish Council, right? And the person who brought the check to me to be in cash, whom that 25,000 of that amount was his. It was just a proxy. The rest goes back to the political machinery. And there were myriads of checks like that around coming through the Trelawney Parish Council, right? So I use it as a basis that because they were targeting that very core road, the choppers. And my argument was that if you're a chopper, don't allow politicians to chop you. As I said, I had a little drink before, and therefore I went too far. I'm not seeking to justify it.
Yeah, because I want to go back to the actual statement where you said that.
I know what I said. You have to go back to it. I don't want to be reminded of it. The point I said to you, that what in that viral video, that is just a small bit of what was overall in terms of the speech that was made.
So when you said that they've chopped us for years,
yes,
who are you speaking about specifically?
I don't have to repeat that again.
I'm asking you.
Listen to me.
No, I'm asking you, who were you addressing at that time?
I was addressing the choppers.
No, when you say they have chopped us for years,
I put the chopping in a historical context in terms of during slavery, we were exploited. I use the vernacular chopper in its exploitative sense, not in its criminal sense. In terms of politicians exploiting, you exploit them back.
Remind the audience what CAP is, please.
So this is action for principle and integrity.
Principle, integrity. So the state,
in its exploitative sense, not in its criminal. I'm not afraid to talk to me, don't say no. A part of my master's degree, I have media training. It's a part of a lot of the master's degree program in the UK here. You have your media training. But the sound dunce right now. Unhingedly dunce. Dennis Meadows is alleging a lot of criminality here. Dennis Meadows, in this clipping, has alleged a lot of criminal offenses.
please.
So this is action for principle and integrity.
Principle, integrity. So the statement that went viral, the one that cost you caretakership of North Trelawney, what was going on in your mind when you made that statement, sir?
Good point. It was quite frankly a desperate attempt to rescue a campaign that was corruptly awashed with cash in terms of.
Right. We want to know, Mr. Meadows, because the sideways talking about me. Ray Gibson. We want to know, whose campaign are you talking about? The People's National Party. Who are you taking a swipe at here? Are you taking a swipe at the Mark Golden campaign Or are you taking a swipe at the Jamaica Labour Party campaign? I don't know, because you went into a dinner and a started and changed and went on to something else. But Dennis Meadows, even big yard journalists, because they are so focused with ultrasound, weather reception, wedding picture. So CVM journalists cannot press on a crime that has been explained to him. Dennis Meadows said he was trying to help a campaign which was awash with crime, with money corruptly. But let Dennis Meadows talk on me. We ask.
Monetary inducement, buying votes. And
Who were buying the votes, Mr. Meadows? Which political party these vote buyers were aligned to, Mr. Meadows? Who are these vote buyers? Did you, Mr. Meadows, report that to the police? Because me a fool.
in addition to that, the essence of the whole speech, what you saw in the viral.
Right. Here we wouldn't know the conclusion of that, because if you notice, he did it and started away, and then we don't know more about whose campaign he was talking about, who is involved in this awashed money that he was trying to save, whose ever campaign. Who, Mr. Meadow, is alleging that is swindling money, laundering money, Mr. Meadows. This is what Mr. Meadows is alleging. And everybody, including big yard journalists, who was asking the question, slipped by some. Whose campaign was Mr. Meadows trying to save? Whose campaign was corruptly, Mr. Meadows, awashed with money?
Is really a snippet of what the entire speech was about. The context of the speech was, if politicians chopping you, you must chop them back.
Where in Dennis Meadows' speech on the campaign was Dennis referring to politicians? Was Dennis Meadows not referring to the slave masters? I'm not in any defense of the slave master. I'm straightening out sideways Dennis behind the wife and children. That is my intention this morning. Did Dennis Meadows report these corruption, these vote buying that Mr. Meadows is alleging in public? Did Mr. Meadows, as someone who's vying for our legislator, did Mr. Meadows report it to the police? And if Mr. Meadows didn't, why did Mr. Meadows not do that? Then come on camera, I come smear. Because if you, Mr. Meadows, have not reported this to the police, then this would be social media smear and propaganda.
That was the essence of it. And I think I went too far in terms of making that point. And consequently, I have to take full responsibility. The issue was about, I started out with a $400,000 check that came to me from the Trelawney Parish Council. Right? And the person who brought the check to me to be in cash, whom that 25,000 of that amount was his. It was just a proxy.
Dennis Meadows is alleging here that the parish council, municipality, is involved in money laundering in a ploy to do vote buying. Further in the video, you will hear Dennis Meadows is alleging also that choppers were linked to these checks.
The rest goes back to the political machinery. And there were myriads of checks like that around coming through the Trelawney Parish Council. Right? So I use it as a basis that Because they were targeting that very core road, the choppers. And my argument was that if you're a chopper.
So those myriads of check of the 400,000 amount, a lot of them were flooding through. Dennis Meadows is a legend. The Chilani municipality. Who did Dennis Meadows? Who did Dennis Meadows report these criminal offenses to? Who did Dennis Meadows report these corruption to? Who did Dennis Meadows? Uno want no bumbleclot why Dennis Meadows said the check come to him? Dennis Meadows. You, Dennis Meadows, because we're not able to allege it this morning. You, Dennis Meadows, is the boss and kingpin for a lot of Western choppers, Mr. Meadows. You are the one, Mr. Meadows, that is washing, collecting, normalizing and clean up a lot of the choppers' money. That's why you, Dennis Meadows, went on stage and advised them in public. Because they, Mr. Meadows, are your financial backers. That's why you hold dear to that North Chilani seat. And I am daring you, Mr. Meadows, go for that seat independently. You have the financial backing. You have a wealth of choppers. You have a wealth of scammers behind you, Mr. Meadows. Yes, Mr. Meadows have a wealth of scammers behind him. Did you all not see that Mr. Dennis Meadows took in all of his councillor division? Who was buying the votes that you're alleging Dennis Meadows? Whose campaign is Dennis Meadows? What is Dennis Meadows alleging to have been trying to rescue with their wash of checks of 400,000 and above that was coming to the municipality? Morning, Cousin Marin. Who is Dennis Meadows alleging is involved in these money laundering, vote buying, corruption in the Chilani municipality? Who is Dennis Meadows alleging? Why nobody now question that? Why big yard journalists? Dennis Meadows alleged this crime on camera in front of big yard journalists. Did you hear big yard journalists? I bet you if I did somebody married, you would hear some big yard journalists want to hear more. I bet if I did somebody pregnant, big yard journalists wouldn't want to hear more. And a crime was alleged by a politician who have just been hoisted out of his job. A politician who was hoisted from the FLA for alleged corrupt practices. Big yard journalists never press on the issue. Whose campaign were you trying to save? Who was corruptly buying votes? Who were linked to those checks? Did you, Mr. Meadows, assist in changing those checks? Did you, Mr. Meadows, gain any financial gain from changing those checks? Why are now Dennis Meadows a come talk about the check them? Who's funding your political campaign, Mr. Meadows? I'm going to ask a very uncomfortable question. People might get in their tizzy, but this is not a target at Andre Stevens. But during the political campaign, Mr. Meadows, you pay Andre Stevens $500,000 Jamaican dollars for promotion and PNP backative. What's the source of that money, Mr. Meadows? Is that the proceed of scamming Who assists your political campaign financially, Mr. Meadows? Why is the police not investigating Dennis Meadows? Dan Campbell, how are you? How are you? Why is it the Integrity Commission has investigated him when he was at the FLA? But given what we know now, what Dennis Meadows said on the political campaign, where Dennis Meadows was aiding and abetting crime. On the political campaign, Dennis Meadows was aiding and abetting crime, scamming that lead to other major crimes such as murder, kidnapping, rape, Mr. Meadows. And then in an attempt, Colin Jones, after stepping down, after Mark Golden fired him, Mr. Meadows come in public, Sue McDuffie, and is telling us, Mr. Meadows is telling us that he was trying, the essence of his gap is that he was trying to save a political campaign that was awash with a lot of money corruptly to buy votes. And it started, Mr. Meadows said, with a check of $400,000 that came to him via the Trelawney municipality. And the person bearing the check, $25,000 Simone Bedford. The bearer would have received a kickback, a service fee of $25,000. And then Pamela McNeil, somewhere that check would go into a kickback in the political machinery for vote buying. Whose political machinery? Since as big yard journalists, who ungo can follow wedding fractal, never see it necessary to ask you those questions, Mr. Meadows. Whose political machinery? Whose check? Whose name is on the check? Is it a name, a corporation, or is the check said to be work done within the community and this money is to for paying workers who've done X, Y? What was that check about, Mr. Meadows? It's important that we ask Mr. Meadows for clarity and that check and the other, because he said there was many of those checks coming to the municipality. It's important we have a follow-up with Mr. Meadows in relation to his allegation of corruption, vote buying, money laundering. And we want to know how long Mr. Meadows was aware of this and who Mr. Meadows reported it to. Did Mr. Meadows report it to the police? Did Mr. Meadows report it to the General Secretary of the People's National Party or the executive of the People's National Party? Who did Mr. Meadows report it to? Did Mr. Meadows take an issue with officials in the Trelawney Municipal Corporation? So I don't want nobody out here act like you never hear the whoop of sideways talking when Meadows make the whoop of allegation when Meadows make in a one trying to defend. And let me say this, Mr. Meadows. Drunkenness is not a defense in law for any reason, Mr. Meadows. Drunkenness is not a defense. So cut the crap. What we want to know is who is involved in all of this crime and corruption that you, Mr. Meadow, Colin Jones, is exposing. So I don't want nobody act like them never hear all of them something what Dennis Meadows said. And I go on like, because him drunk and him roll out a bar, make him attack sideways. No, Mr. Meadows, drunkenness is not a defense in law.
please.
Citizens Action for Principle and Integrity.
Principle, integrity. So the statement that went viral, the one that cost you caretakership of North Trelawney, what was going on in your mind when you made that statement, sir?
Good point. It was, quite frankly, a desperate attempt to rescue a campaign that was corruptly awash with cash in terms of monetary inducement, buying votes. And in addition to that, the essence of the whole speech, what you saw in the viral, is really a snippet of what the entire speech was about. The context of the speech was, if politicians chopping you, you must chop them back. That was the essence of it. And I think I went too far in terms of making that point. And consequently, I have to take full responsibility. The issue was about, I started out with a $400,000 check that came to me from the Trelawney Parish Council. Right? And the person who brought the check to me to be in cash, whom that 25,000 of that amount was his. It was just a proxy. The rest goes back to the political machinery. And there were myriads of checks like that around coming through the Trelawney Parish Council. Right? So I use it as a basis that, because they were targeting that very core road, the choppers. And my argument was that if you're a chopper, don't allow politicians to chop you. As I said, I had a little drink before, and therefore I went too far. I'm not seeking to justify it.
Yeah, because I want to go back to the actual statement where you said that.
I know what I said. You have to go back to it. I don't want to be reminded.
I want to take off your married ring and stuff it right in your ears. Right in your ears, I want to take off your married ring and stuff it, because you need to take that thing off of your finger. This poor show gracious symbol. Take it off. Sideways, Dennis. Take it off. But you, Dennis Meadows, you only come out a blunder because you know, sir, like how things start, Dennis Meadows, your alignment with scamming in Western Jamaica is going to surface. Yes, Mr. Dennis Meadows, that is what you're ducking and diving about. That is what you're narrativing out there. You want to put it out there first. So when people talk about your alignment to scamming, Mr. Dennis Meadows. When we start talk, Dennis Meadows, say a scammer fund your election campaign. A scammer help you to buy all of your seat, them, Dennis. You just you was sprucing money, Dennis Meadows, across the whole of North Trelawney. Yes, Dennis Meadows. So come tell where who for vote buying. Tell where who I do the vote buying them. Tell where who for name depend the check them. Tell we who in the municipality involved in these whole heap of scammers check. America, have you heard of this? I wonder if the United States Embassy heard Dennis Meadows that a lot of the funds scammed from elderly citizens in the United States, those United States is the money that Dennis Meadows used to run his political campaign and was planning to use that to take him to Garden House. Yes, that Mr. Criminal Meadows, the Meadows that was there issuing guns when he was at the FLA, not just so in bread and law, but just about any bad man, Mr. Meadows, who was willing to sleep with you, you would have issued them a firearm license. But yes, Dennis Meadows, you have the funds, because you have gained handsomely from your involvement and your donship and your pimpinellerism in scamming, because of your hustle and a change out and a clean up a lot of money for the scammers. But you, the Trelawney municipality, you need to come out and explain yourself. I don't know if it is true But if it is true and Dennis Meadows is throwing you under the bus, you are under duty to come and tell us what corruption or money laundering and involvement you, the Chilani municipal, is involving. Hey, I know Dr. Chang one down there going in a cough of fenkes. It's not just Dr. Chang. It's not just Dr. Chang that is going on in Kofofos and Kofenkes. But you're going to get one of them bad man the way I sleep with Dennis Meadows to shoot me. One of them that you've give gun license to. Because I am daring you, Dennis Meadows, because you have the financial backing of scammers. I am daring you to go up for the North Chilani constituency as an independent. It would be a brouhaha, Dennis Meadows. Because you're not come walk and fool with, and you're not come walk and use money to get high office, Dennis Meadows, to further your corruption and breaches of trust in personal office. So who you, my boy? Go on, go take off your wedding band and sit down. And please tell us while you're at it, the $500,000 where you pay Andre Stevens for campaign for the PNP, was that money of the proceeds of scamming Mr. Meadows? And please remember that we are going to continue asking these questions. You won't be clear from this, Mr. Meadows. You're the one who alleged the crime. You, Mr. Meadows, alleged the crime. Paula Facey, good evening. Precious Allen, good evening. You alleged the crime, Mr. Meadows. I just want to follow up on them. I just want a follow-up on them, Mr. Meadows. Because if you hold a media land, I go on like them not hear what you say. Even big yard journalists. Even big yard journalists who was questioning you fail to follow up on the crimes and corruption that you have alleged right in front of him on camera. We want to know questions, Mr. Meadows. We want to know, and we're going to continue to ask those questions. Because I know nobody alleged these crime and corruption, Mr. Meadows. They came out of your mouth. Because you is one of them little chatty brouhaha. You is one of them little chatty brouhaha. So make sure you can answer all of those questions. Because you can't keep on a business, you know. That's why I can always know your business, because you don't keep them. So continue. Flo M, good evening. Make sure, Mr. Meadows, keep out of a political space. Stop vowing for the highest office in the land. You don't have the credibility for it. Come on social media with us and use your democracy, Mr. Meadows. Or go and use your qualified dunceness somewhere else, Dennis Meadows. Because you came out in public in an attempt to clear a gap, Mr. Meadows. And what you have done, you have come out here and you have made various criminal allegations and just walk away so and think so if you say, okay then, because that's so, it's all right. To those of you Meadows sympathizer, nobody don't pay me. Me hungry. That's why me cross. Because me hungry. On a full belly people can scratch on a belly and pay you and tear money. Me hungry. So me can remain cross. This was my response and questioning to Dennis Meadows' gibberish. It is my weekend and my time off, so I am going to now go and have my cycling because the sun is shining in the UK, and Dennis Meadows ain't gonna take up much of my time. But I wasn't gonna go the whole weekend with Dennis Meadows sideways speaking, irritating me. So thank you all very much for stopping by on a Saturday when we are not normally here. But we have to respond to gibberish and we have to set straight the certified dunce. Good afternoon from Global Television.